discussion today as we are driving my child to camp again this morning. We only have 2 days left of that, which I am excited because that means less running during the day. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm sad because Taylor loves it so much, and it is a nice little break through the day, as bad as that sounds. But so as I was saying, my camera fell and my little piece that holds it up broke. So I'm gonna have to put the camera like this today. So it's gonna be like a little bit of a weird angle. But I wanted to talk for a minute. As I was saying, it's my daughter's it's her last 2 days of camp. I'm excited because we get to see her all day. We don't have to run around in the mornings because it makes for, I mean, it's not early mornings. It's earlier than what I would take the kids to school. Like, I typically would probably just now be waking the kids up on a typical school day. Yeah, well, we're going to go to the library in a little bit. But, so we get up pretty early in the morning for school camp because I have to have her, you know, like a half hour away by 9 o'clock. Whereas at school, I don't have to have them there by 9, but I only live like 2 minutes down the road. So I don't have to get up as early. But anyways, so I'm kind of excited that we don't have to do that routine anymore, but I'm really sad because she does love camp, and as I said, it is a little bit of a break for us. And I haven't really shared like our personal story on here yet. I mean, I've talked about autism quite often, but I haven't really like discussed anything about autism or how we found out that she had autism or anything of that. So I thought I would take a little bit of time today while I'm driving to camp and talk about autism for a minute. So we started noticing that Taylor was not talking and whatnot. Like, even like her first birthday, like I remember thinking back, like she didn't like everyone being around her. She was crying so hard at her first birthday. Like, I look back now, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but I look back now at like all 3 of our children's first birthdays and how all of their first birthdays went, and hers was by far the worst. I mean, she cried almost the whole time, and she didn't like everybody being there, and then she ended up falling asleep halfway through it, and yep, she did. She fell asleep halfway through it. And like, so I just like started thinking back to that point. But anyways, so we didn't really notice. She was our first kid. We didn't hang out with a lot of people that had younger kids. I didn't know how developmentally they were supposed to. So, like I said, we weren't hanging around with people that had children like her age really. So we didn't know like developmentally like how she was like falling behind. We took her to the pediatrician at 1, you know, and he asked if she was saying any words, and of course she was saying like mama, bye-bye, like the typical things. So, you know, we told him, you know, like, well, she's saying the typical words, you know, blah, 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 and he was like, okay. And, you know, then we took her back for 18 months and he asked how her speech is progressing, and, you know, we told him, you know, it wasn't progressing much. And, you know, he said, well, every kid develops differently. You know, like, we still didn't notice, like, the signs. There really, I mean, honestly, there really wasn't a whole lot that I really, like, I don't know, I thought she was developing fine, I guess. Then 2 came around. And I started realizing, like, when I would say her name, she wasn't, like, looking. She wasn't, like, talking or telling me what she needed by that point. She was doing a lot of, like, pointing to the stuff she wanted, but she wasn't, like, talking. And she would, like, you know, like, grunt, but there was no, and then by 2, I mean, mama had stopped, daddy had stopped, bye-bye had stopped. I mean, there was no communication verbally whatsoever. It was just grunting, reaching for things. And then I started even noticing more things. Like, I cannot even explain it. It's this mother's, like, intuition that something is not right. And sorry, I get teary-eyed talking about it, but it was just mother's intuition. Something wasn't right. And I remember, like, talking to people about it. Like, I really feel like there could be something, like, developmentally not right. I feel like there's just, she was, like, having meltdowns, and, like, I'm not talking, like, a typical toddler meltdown. I'm talking, like, full-blown meltdowns, panic attacks, and whatnot. So, at 2.5, we ended up taking her back to the pediatrician, And, you know, we were kind of like, look, something's not right. Like, and so eventually, like, we did or I guess before we took her to the pediatrician, we did this, like, I can't remember what it was called. It was off Nationwide, but it was like a checklist for autism. And I'll share the link in the bottom because, you know, I don't know how many of you have children that you're kind of wondering about. And it was a really good checklist because it really made you sit and, like, think about your child's behaviors. And so I'll post it at the bottom. I think it started with an M. I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. I want to say it was like the in chat or something like that. So, but I'll post the link in this video. But so we took these like 22, I think it was 22 like questions. And I mean, she had like 19 out of 21 or 19 out of 22, whatever it was. So we just kind of knew. I just had this feeling. And so we took her to the pediatrician and he evaluated her and he gave the initial diagnosis of autism, and he gave us like a prescription to go to Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, to get her further evaluated. And they got her in rather quickly. Like, I know a lot of people have to wait, but we didn't really wait that long because I think we took her to like her pediatrician in December, and we were in there by January. So January of 2015, she was diagnosed at Nationwide Children's Hospital with nonverbal autism and MRELD, which is multiple receptive expressive language disorder. And it was a really hard time in our lives because I had Taylor, who wasn't even 3 yet, and I had Lucas, and he was just born in October of 2014, so he was only 4 months old when she got diagnosed. And then I had Quinn, and Quinn was only 21 months old. So we had a 4-month-old, a 21-month-old, or is that right? Yeah, 4-month-old, 21-month-old, and an almost 3-year-old. So, I mean, we just had our plates full, and it was just another, like, thing added to our plate. And so when we left there, you know, he gave us, like, instructions, like, but we left with, like, you know, we had to get a pediatrician for her, or we needed to get her enrolled in speech therapy, occupational therapy, and so that's what we did. But I have to tell you, we literally like walked out of there with like nothing. Like literally we walked out of there with like a pamphlet about autism, and that was it. And I think that was one of the hardest parts of it, is because you're literally just handed this child and that you love more than anything in the world, and you have nothing to help her. I had no credentials whatsoever to help somebody with autism. And I knew nothing about how to help her. I knew nothing about potty training a child with autism, nothing. So, you know, January 2015, we started this journey. And it has been a long journey since then. I'm going to be honest with you. It has been a long journey. It has been a lot of not knowing how to handle situations, not knowing what to do in situations, not knowing how to feel about situations. And, you know, and then we're adding two other typical children in the mix of it, just trying to cope with an autism diagnosis. I started a little bit on Facebook this week, but I have just been having a really, really hard week dealing with things, because I constantly feel like I'm screwing up. I constantly feel like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help. I feel like sometimes I feel like I don't do a very good job at this because I don't know how to help or what to do. And it's a horrible feeling to feel like you're not qualified. I hate it. Because you want to do the best that you can for her, but you don't know how to do it, you know? I have 3 children, 2 are potty trained, and she's still not. You know, like, so I know, like, we're capable of that stuff. I know that I'm capable of teaching a child how to get potty trained. You know, I know I'm capable of teaching a child how to use silverware and how to use their manners, but I don't know how to teach a child that cannot verbally communicate with me. It's the hardest thing. You know, know, and like I talked a little bit on Facebook, and this is kind of graphic, so please excuse me, but you know, I've spent every day this week cleaning feces off of our walls, and the rooms don't lock. We need to get new doorknobs. And I was talking about this last night to somebody, because I was talking about autism last night, and you know, like I'm gonna be honest, I kind of felt judged a little bit. And that's why I said, you know, I told this person, I said, you know, I walked out of that hospital with a paper and a little pamphlet, and I said, you know, like we were just kind of left to fend for ourselves, and it's been a learning process, you know, and that's what I was telling this person. I was like, it's been where we how do I want to word this? It's been a trial and error, you know, like when something bad happens, then we realize, okay, this is what we've got to do, you know. Like I remember when Lucas was like 5 or 6 months old, it was right after she was diagnosed, and we didn't have top locks on our doors. We just had the doorknobs locked, and Lucas had colic really bad, and even at 5 months old he still had colic really bad. Actually, he might not have been 5 months old. This might have been actually like right before she was diagnosed, because it was snowing outside and we had a lot of snow, so he might have only been like 3 or 4 months old, but he had colic really bad, and he would cry all day all night without fail. And I was exhausted one night because he had been up like all night, and then of course I had, you know, an 18-month-old on top of it that still wasn't sleeping through the night, and then, you know, we had her, so I was completely whipped. Well, I remember that my husband had to get up really early for work. He had to leave for work like 3:30, so I told him bye, locked the door, in there in the recliner, and I'm rocking him. We ended up falling asleep. I fell asleep with him on my chest, and I remember that I could feel this cold breeze on my feet, and it woke me up. And I looked, and where I was sitting, I could see our back door, and it was wide open. So instantly, obviously, like I'm like gut-wrenching fear, and I go outside, and Taylor is sitting outside completely naked, where she'd taken off of her clothes or she'd taken off of her diaper, and she was sitting in the snow, and her little bottom was like so red, and she must have been out there. I don't even know. I don't even want to think about how long she was out there or where she could have went. But, you know, it was at that point that we got locks on all the tops of our doors that she can't reach. And even now with a chair, she still can't reach the locks because we moved them higher. But it's like I said, it's trial. It was literally something bad happened and you learn from it. And, you know, like, and it became this thing where I was like, you know, that's hard. That you have a child, that you are having to have a bad experience to learn from it, to protect her after that. And it's just like, I just want to, like, I wish I could just like sit down and develop this book and just hand it to parents that are just finding out that their children have autism, and be like, this is what happened with us. I want you to know before it happens to you, because I don't want you to have to learn from it. And, you know, like, it terrifies me to think what could have happened to her and how exhausted I was. And so, you know, like I said, that's why we have locks on our doors. You know, she's had some mishaps with the refrigerator. We've had a lot of issues with that, but that's why things that she's not supposed to have go on the top drawer. And, you know, like, she knows how to open windows now. So now we have alarms on our windows. We have alarms on our doors. You know, like, now that we're having these issues with number 2, we're going to get locks for the doors that she cannot unlock, because we have locks on some doors, and she figured out that she can get a butter knife and open the doors with a butter knife. So it's literally been a trial and error process. And what diagnosis do you want out of your child where you have to do a trial and error to see what works for them? It's absolutely heart-wrenching. It's overwhelming. And like I told my husband last night, I said, I feel like it takes a little piece of my soul every day sometimes, this diagnosis. Because it just hurts. It just hurts. And you hate talking to people about it, which is why I'm talking to a camera right now. Because you feel like you literally are beating a dead horse. You feel like you're literally saying the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. I literally feel like I say the same stuff to people every day. And I feel like they have to get tired of hearing it. I'm just tired. And I just want to like wrap my arms around every parent that's just now finding out. Tell you that I know. And just help us. Because it was seriously just a whole new world for us, and I didn't know what to do. Still don't. You know, I'm 3.5 years on this journey, and I still have no idea what I'm doing. I would not even say I'm an expert. I mean, do I think about things way ahead of time and prepare and try and think, like, every time I leave the house, I have 3,000 thoughts running through my head of, okay, well, I gotta go this way because she's gonna freak out if I go this way, and I gotta make sure this person isn't there, and I gotta make sure this, and I gotta make sure this is packed, and, you know, like, I constantly have those thoughts, but I still wouldn't say that I'm an expert by any sense of the word, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I mean, I have a 7-year-old that's not potty trained. I'm not exactly equipped for this. Like, most days I feel like a failure. I just wanted to share that with everybody today. Like, my heart just hurts a little bit, and I just wanted to talk, you know, talk to just a camera that just is listening about how bad it hurts in here, you know.
Where I'm at, I'm standing at the back, and I'm tired of waiting. Waiting here in line, hoping that I'll find what I've been chasing. I shot for the sky, I'm stuck on the ground. So why do I try? I know I'm gonna fall down. I thought I could fly, so why did I drown?